This is a video for how to go about creating a component with an irregular curve in Autodesk Fusion. You will notice that on the screen on the left-hand side, we see the completed object where we can see this looks like a pipe that kind of splits into two separate directions. But the reason why we'll call this an irregular curve is it goes up one plane and then turns onto another plane. And we can notice that in our two-dimensional drawing we see over here on the right, how, kind of in this front view, we see an axis that goes up and comes over to this center mark. But then over here, we also see that that line is actually turning onto another plane at a radius of 20 millimeters. So what we will do is this will be the first of 3 videos to show you how to create this part. And we will start out by making the bottom base component here in the first video. So when we go into Fusion, we want to make sure that we are in millimeters. So we're going to go over to our browser and we're going to go to Document Settings, and notice that I by default generally am in inches. I'm going to click on my little pencil right here and I'm going to go down to millimeter. If you'd like to keep millimeter as your default setting, you can just check this box. I'm going to choose not to do that for myself, and I'm going to say OK. Now let's take a look at that two-dimensional drawing, and we want to take a look that we have we have kind of this cylinder base that has a height of 32 millimeters, and then I can also tell that there is hollow in the middle because I can see section lines right here where material was cut. And over here in our front view, I can see a center line that shows that that is actually showing a center line that comes up to here and then turns and goes on an angle where I can see the letter B, and these arrows shows me where the material was cut. So we're going to start out by drawing for ourselves a center line from the origin that goes up 32 millimeters. And to do that, we're going to start creating a sketch. Now, there's different ways you can start creating a sketch. I'm going to come over to my browser, and I like to go to the origin over here, and I like to drag my mouse over the top of the planes. And the plane I want to start with is the XZ plane. And I'm going to right click on XZ and go down to Create Sketch. And I like starting on the XZ because I can see that word front right there. I can see X as my horizontal axis, Z as my vertical axis, and I'm going to kind of bring this over to here. And I'm going to click on the line command. Now we want to come over to our sketch palette and we want to click on center line. And this is going to help us out when we do a revolution later. So we're going to click on the origin, and I'm going to come straight up and we're going to put in 32 and hit enter. And we now have ourselves a center line that is now at 32 millimeters. We're going to go back and take a look at our drawing. And we're going to just sketch out just a basic shape here. And I'm going to start from our origin and go over and come up and over and up and over. And I want you to notice that this vertical line does not line up with this vertical line right here. I want to make sure that those aren't lined up, but we're going to be able to put in some dimensions after that. So let's go to the line command, and I'm going to click on the origin. And I'm just going to go over. It doesn't really matter how far we're going here. I'm going to go over and go up. I'm going to go over again. I'm going to come up. I want to make sure these don't line up, so I don't want to snap here. I'm going to click and I'm going to come up, and I want to reference just this line right here. And I'm going to click, and we're going to come over just a little bit. We're going to drag straight down and click when it becomes vertical. And you're going to see that we now have an area over here. When I see this light blue area, what Fusion is telling me is I see a place where I could actually revolve or extrude or something. Now that we're done with that, let's grab a hold of the trim tool, and we're going to come down. We're going to trim off this little part right in here because it's a hollow object. When it's a hollow cylinder. When I look over here, there's no material here in the middle. We'll eventually be revolving this. Now we're going to start out by doing our diameter dimensions. And what's nice about using that center line is we can actually just go from the center line to the edge we want to do, and it'll automatically give us a diameter dimension. We're going to start out by doing the smallest to the largest, and the smallest is the diameter of 11, which is the interior hollow part of this cylinder. So I'm going to go up to dimension, and I'm going to click here, and I'm going to click here, and drag straight up, and we're going to put an 11. And I'm going to hit enter. Notice how it gave us that diameter. We didn't have to worry about cutting anything in half or doing any kind of radius work. Our next dimension will be a diameter of 15, and that's from the outer wall to the center line here. So we're going to go from here to here. Just going to drag up. We're going to put in 15 and hit enter. Next one we're going to do is 20 and 25. So 20 is from here into our center line. I'm going to come straight down, put in 20. Next one from the outside is 25 to our center line. I'm just going to drag and get it out of the way and say 25. So now we have all of our diameter in there, and we also have a height of 32. Let's jump right back. Our next dimensions that we want to place is the 4 and the 9 here. So let's grab a hold of dimension. My height here is a distance of 4. Let's go back to the drawing. Next height is from the bottom up, and that is a distance of 9. From here, from the bottom up, that is a distance of 9. And we're going to hit enter. Now, what's nice is we now have the entire object made with the exception of our chamfers that we see right in here. If you can see these chamfers here, we're going to do those at the end as features. Now we could put those in, in the sketches, but I like to do those as features in case I want to change those later. I don't want to go back and edit a sketch. So we're going to go to Finish Sketch. I'm going to click on my house button, and I'm going to come up to Revolve. And what's nice about using that center line is Fusion automatically sees that center line as saying you want to revolve something because it has a center axis. I did not have to click a profile or an axis here. I want to make sure that I have a new body, and I'm going to say OK. And we now have for ourselves this view right here, which is our front view, which we don't really see, that section view here, but we're going to take a look at that here in a second through a section analysis. Now I'm going to come back up to my view cube, and we're going to go to chamfer. We're going to go down to chamfer, and I want to make sure I click on this circle right here where this surface meets the edge of our cylinder. And we're going to go right back here. We're going to put in 2. So that gives us a distance and an angle. We're going to go to equal distance. We're going to go to distance and angle. And you're going to see here where in millimeters it is 2 and the angle is 45. Now this will be an additive fillet, or excuse me, an additive chamfer. This adds mass to the object. And I'm going to say OK. I'm going to come down here and look at the bottom of the object now, and we're going to do a subtractive fillet. So we're going to go back. You see where it says 3 by 45. So we're going to go back to chamfer. We're going to be in distance and angle. We want this edge right here. We want to put in a distance of 3. And we have an angle of 45. Now let's say OK. I'm going to come back up to my house. We're going to go to inspect, and we're going to go down to section analysis. So basically going to say, what plane do we want to take a look at a section analysis on? You can do whatever one you want. But if I click here and I turn, you can see that I am now mirroring the exact same sketch. Let's drag this over a little bit just so we can see. I now have the exact view from what I see over here on the side. I have all the correct dimensions. I have in my correct diameters. If we had to, we can just go back and edit the sketches. And this is going to give us the base of this object. Now, if I say OK, notice over here in the browser now, we have something new that says Analysis, and I can see I have an eyeball right here. Let's go up and click on my house button, and let's turn off that eyeball for section. And now I'm right back here into the part. So let's go ahead and go to Save. And I'm just going to call this a cylindrical object. You can call it whatever you wish. I'm just going to say save. So this has been the first video of 3 that we will have that will show how to go through and create this part. So let's go back and take a look at that finished object. We've just finished this object down on the bottom here. Our next video will show how to create this plate that we see where we have to eventually sweep and kind of morph this pipe and this cylinder up into the plate. So our next video and the second video will show how to do that and how to create that plate. So this has been a video for how to go about creating the base cylinder of an object with a kind of complex curvature in Autodesk Fusion.